PD. Hey. I can't sleep.
Why?
Do you want to go to Disney?
Yes.
What if we went to Disney World today?
We really are.
Really are.
We really are.
Are we literally going to Disney? Yeah.
The magic's been there from the very beginning.
The smells, the sights, the sounds. There's something in the air that is so special and unique.
The way it connects one-to-one with our guests. Over and over.
Oh my goodness.
Across the country and around the world. Stories become more meaningful.
Which one would you like to choose? The Hulk.
I can't wait to see a princess. I'm so excited.
You look like a really good Buzz Lightyear.
I want to fly.
Stories become more personal.
You are now a knight of the kingdom.
With you at the center, everything comes to life.
Just the fact that we were together, doing all the activities together. Let's go. We're all in it and we're on the moment.
Together, we make the memories that will live in your heart.
I feel like we're celebrated here, and that's so nice to share with other people.
Together, we make the impossible possible.
This is a dream come true for me.
Because the magic of Disney is nothing compared to what happens when we share it with you. Now and forever.
I always wonder what Disney will do next.
Cheers to many more memories.
Every turn I take, every trail I track,
Every path I make, every road leads back
to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. See the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me.
And no one knows how far it goes.
If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me,
One day I'll know how far we'll go.
Goodbye, citizen.
Looking for some digital magic to help you through your week? The Kingdom Report is here for you, covering the latest Disneyland and Disney World news, experiences, and events. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Kingdom Report Live so you never miss an update. And drop a subscribe on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel for new videos every week. Don't miss out. Join this growing community of theme park fans as we aim to connect you to more of what makes you happy. For more information, visit KingdomReportLive.com. And now, back to the magic.
And if magic to you means getting your hands on a copy of my new book, Standalone: The Walt Disney Way, 10 lessons for harnessing your own magic, all you got to do is leave the phrase that pays this week underneath this video after the live show is over. The phrase that pays this week is Disneyland Forever. Disneyland Forever is the phrase that pays this week. Get between now and Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time in which to enter. If you're the winner, we will reach out to you and get this book shipped your direction, all by leaving Disneyland Forever in the comment section beneath the video after the live show. Or you can get your hands on it right now over at Amazon. On today's broadcast, we're talking about how Nelson Peltz has renewed his attack on Disney leaders after his board bid was rejected. Walt Disney World is extending Disney After Hours events well into the summer, plus a permanent closure announced for a Disney World restaurant that seemingly came out of nowhere. Characters from Turning Red are set to debut at California Adventure Park very shortly, and Disneyland Resort is going to be building new entry gates to both Disneyland and California Adventure. Plus, 2024 is a very big year for Disneyland Forward, the expansion project, and it begins this coming week. Plus, yes, you heard it right, Bob Chapek, he's returning. Where and when, we will discuss it. An all-new broadcast, Disney New Stock Live, begins for you straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
them buttes. Keep your eye on the goat. Ah. Yeah. Yeah. Corkscrew.
Disney News Talk Live, your opinions, your Disney Parks perspective. Boy, oh boy, is it great to be back here with you once again. Hey friends, thanks for joining us for another Saturday's worth of magic, another Saturday's worth of joy. And if you are in Southern California, in and around the Disneyland Resort right now, you are no doubt soaking wet. Yes, it is a rare rainy day at the Disneyland Resort. However, we'll take that, I think, over most of the country being completely under snow right now. So cheers. Cheers to the rare rain here at the Orange County vicinity here in the Disneyland Mecca, if you will. I am, of course, Wade Heath, joined by my good friends, as always, to talk about Disney news from across the spectrum. And naturally, we will introduce them. But I always like to make mention, if you have some thoughts, if you have some questions, if you have anything on your mind when it revolves around Disney, you go ahead, drop it in the comment section, whether you are watching us on Facebook Live or you are a part of our live chat over on YouTube. This is the broadcast where we get to spend a little bit more time focusing on what you have to say and a little less time you focusing on everything we have to say. We always love doing these types of shows because we get to focus on your comments, your thoughts, your opinions. That is what Disney News Talk Live is all about. And like I said, here today with some friends of mine, of course, the great one, the Golden Goose himself, the man we know as the master degree holding gentleman, Garrett Hassel. Good to see you, sir.
It is good to see. It's good to see you as well. Even though we're not on camera, I see you and I see your soul. And hello to all the lovely viewers out there. I hope if you're in snow, you're staying warm, and if you're in, California, you're staying dry.
Did you say you see my soul?
I see your soul. It's a reference to the Avatar franchise. Where when they say "I see you," they don't just see you physically, but they see your soul as well. So
that is
yeah,
wow.
It's
deep.
Some deep stuff. Yeah, it's still January, and we're starting out very philosophical.
Wow. Well, I see your soul too. And joining us also alongside Garrett, he is our theme park analyst, Tyler Crouch. What's up, buddy?
Hello. Hi. Well, now what's up is I just need to know, are you guys like connecting tails or what's going on here?
No, they don't connect tails. It's their hair
their
thing.
Braid, whatever, their hair,
all of it.
It's the same thing.
Do you feel left out? I'll connect my hair with your hair.
Well, I think I need to grow some first to match that amazing coif you got going on up there.
That guy and his coif. Master's degree coif. That's what we call him.
That's what we say all the time.
We do. And along with that education and the royalty that is our theme park analyst, we are also joined, of course, by his better half, our travel agent in residency, Katrina Manzone. Nice to see you, my friend.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
To be together.
Everybody. I see
right?
all.
In the soaking wet. You feeling soapy?
So soapy. It's actually really soothing right now. Like we're just kind of like staring outside, and then it stopped raining for a while, but it's like nice and overcast and whatnot.
Ugh. I guess if you're one of those, hey, I'm an indoor person on a rainy day with a fireplace and a book, then this works for you.
Yeah, I don't have. We have a fireplace that we haven't used in a long time, so we can't really do that. And I don't have a book. I need to get your book actually. And
You do.
and then so it's like cleaning day and something to binge watch. I think seems accurate.
So much to focus on a
I
day
know
like today.
so many
My
things.
goodness.
I
Dan
love a rainy
Crane.
day.
Oh, I know you love a rainy day. You of all people.
I'm excited.
That's this is his Super Bowl.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
weather.
It is.
The parks empty out a little bit, and it just gives him a greater chance of going on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
It's true.
Yeah, over and
you
over
know,
again.
Now I don't have to push the kids over to be a pilot.
That's right. An engineer with you. That's your life.
Yeah.
Dan Crane coming up in chat saying, it's a wet one at Disneyland today. Yes, indeed, Dan, it is. Terry saying, a wonderful day to talk Disney. Terry, with you, always a wonderful day to talk Disney. Todd saying, happy wet SoCal Saturday. All Todd, the
I
same
like
to
that.
you.
Cool. SoCal Saturday.
You know, Todd also said he loved those views from the top of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, captured exclusively by the voice of that video, one Garrett Hassel.
Yeah, it was me. I thought at first, man, who's just talking on this, right? And then I was like, oh, that's me. So I'm
Look at them
buttes. Yeah, look at them buttes, and that's what they are. You know, they're referencing the buttes, and you gotta keep it on the goat. People don't realize the goat is chewing dynamite, and that is dangerous, folks. Don't chew dynamite.
Are there
unless
any?
you're a goat.
Would there be any hoodoos there at the Big Thunder Mountain?
Any hoodoos?
Yeah, that's another. That's another. If you want to know about, more geography things, you're all about the buttes, right? But also maybe look into the hoodoos. That's all I'm saying.
I will have to do that now.
There is.
I took geography.
Oh, kudu. I'm saying hoodoo.
Let's get it right first. How about that?
We're off to a great start today.
Always a pleasure. Clearly not. Jesse saying, you know how to keep people entertained while waiting for a live show. Well, Jesse, that's the goal. We want you to appreciate what you see on screen, as always. Eddie saying, I wish it was raining here. Eddie, where are you? Tell us where you are. I know you followed up by saying the cold snow sucks. So in exchange,
yes,
it sounds like.
Yes, it does.
Jeremy Heath, no relation, I promise. Saying,
I was about to ask, yeah.
Good afternoon, Wade. Well, good afternoon, Jeremy. No idea. And Terry saying, hopefully your rain will reach us in Arizona tomorrow. Yes, Terry, we will send it your direction to seep up all that sand. That's the goal, I think. Give you some of that extra moisture. And Eddie saying, Illinois, looks like. So, well, thanks for joining us, Eddie. Means a lot. You could drop in on your weekend, spend some time with us to talk all things Disney news. And, of course, today we're kicking things off with the big question, which Disney park deserves a new attraction in 2024? You think about all the Disney parks around the world. Is there one in particular that stands out to you that deserves a new attraction? Get thinking about that. We're going to ask the panel here in just a moment. Of course, we want to run down one more time for you the stories that we are going to be touching on here today from out in Walt Disney World. We're losing a Disney World restaurant as of tomorrow, if you can believe it. A permanent shutdown happening pretty immediate from the point where we first heard about it just a couple days ago. And Disney World extending some of those after-hours events into the summer, as well as Nelson Peltz, the activist investor who is attacking the Disney leadership after his board bid was rejected once again. We'll dive into that a little bit later on. Disneyland building up some new entry gates to Disneyland Park and California Adventure. Fascinating that they are thinking about doing that right now. And in addition to that, 2024, big year for Disneyland Forward, and it begins this coming week. Of course, Bob Chapek in the headline as returning. We will definitely touch on that here in a moment. I've given you guys a chance to think. Garrett, which Disney park deserves a new attraction in 2024?
Well, I've got to go with my favorite park at Walt Disney World, and that would be EPCOT. I think EPCOT is so deserving of a new attraction, especially in the World Showcase area, because you've got the Journey of Moana experience. You've got Soarin' currently doing Soarin' over California. I just have to add, which is the best version of Soarin'. And I think that World Showcase, it needs something. I really hope one day we can get that, that Mount Fuji roller coaster in Japan. I just think it would look so cool in the background. There's plenty of land to do it, but World Showcase, you walk around, you get to experience all these different pavilions and the unique cultures that come there. But other than Ratatouille, Three Caballeros, and a bunch of Circle Vision, like you don't really have all that much to help with the lines and all the other sort of things going on. And I would just say you need to add a new attraction back there, something exciting to pull crowds, whether that is you can pull from IP, but I would like an original attraction in EPCOT, and I think it would be really cool. So fingers crossed they get something back there. I don't care where, but they need something back there. Like China's been promising a new show there. Hasn't happened yet, so we'll just have to wait and see what's coming on the horizon. But yeah, EPCOT, I love you, and you deserve some love. It only took you a few years to get that dirt mound filled in with a garden that lights up at night.
EPCOT it is, he says. Larry Jean saying, hello, Wade, Katrina, Tyler, and Garrett. Larry Jean,
what's up?
Always great to have you with us.
What's up, Laura Jean? It's always nice to see you.
Todd saying, I would say Animal Kingdom deserves a new attraction. Tyler, what say you?
Well, Todd, I love that you said that because that's 100% what I agree with. I think that when I really look over the landscape... Okay, so let me be frank here.
Be frank and be Tyler.
I'll be frank while I'm Tyler at the same time. Anyway, can I do that to myself? Am I allowed to give myself a rim shot, or is that just really cringe?
No one knew that you were doing that.
No, I know nobody knew, but we got to be honest with the audience here. But anyway, I feel like Hollywood Studios is the one that needs more stuff. But I will say their attendance is doing well over there. So I think that the one that, just like when I think about it realistically, like where would I put a new attraction? It would be Animal Kingdom, because that place already has a pretty low capacity, or like what I mean is like they don't have the people showing up there that they want. And I think the reason is because you can kind of complete, unless you really want to go walk around and look at every animal there, you can kind of complete that whole theme park in like a half a day. So I think it definitely needs a little bit of help over there at Animal Kingdom.
Very true. It's certainly a location that deserves some attention, especially being a half-day park, like you said. Terry saying, Anaheim deserves a new attraction that's new and exclusive to Disneyland Park. Richard also saying, just add the e-ticket Avengers ride to California Adventure. Richard, yes.
Keep preaching, brother. Keep preaching, because we're waiting for that too.
I feel like they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, no, they have to redo it.
I think they've realized, like, when I heard about that whole the jet ride, that they were thinking, and I feel like they built Smuggler's Run and they realized, we need to do something more than this jet situation. So I think they went back to the drawing board, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, didn't they say that there was like certain characters too that they were going to add in there, but now that they're retrying to structure like Marvel in itself, that they have to kind of like restructure the characters now too, to make them more relevant?
That's a really great point, actually, because I think they're so worried about what's happening with the movies right now that they're definitely going to be worried to spend billions on a, not billions, but you know what I mean, on a new e-ticket attraction.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Kim Craig saying Disney California needs a new attraction. Yes, it sounds like the West Coast is getting a lot of attention here. Katrina, what do you think? Which Disney park deserves a new attraction 2024?
Oh, man. See, I agree with Garrett, but then I also agree with Tyler, because I also chose Animal Kingdom, because I was like, EPCOT, yes, they kind of do need something that's like cooler and not very screen oriented, but they just don't have a lot that much space, so they have to do screen stuff. But then Animal Kingdom is like really needs something. They're desperate to do something over there by Dinosaur. There's like tons of room over there. They can build a cool ride.
Hey, we might get Encanto and the Indiana
there.
Jones attraction, so who knows?
I mean, I don't know. If they're gonna keep Dinosaur or restructure Dinosaur, I would like hope that they would create something totally new and put it over there that kind of creates, I don't know, its own land, you know, not based off of IP. That would be really nice. Something creative.
Bring it on.
That's what I want.
Beagle saying Disney does not care about the American parks. They just want to drain all of the money out of the parks they can to pay for the film losses. Might not be wrong. Might be some truth to that.
When I see Disneyland Paris with their amazing, drone show for their fireworks, and we haven't even had any real use of drones in the American parks, I see overseas getting a lot of love, and these parks here are just sort of staying quiet. They're not even really doing maintenance. So I'm on board with that idea.
You're here. Terry Thompson saying, start rehabilitating the lackluster Tomorrowland area. Terry, bless you. Amen.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking
about? Both. Both, no doubt.
But I would say especially Disneyland, frankly. But they're both horrible. Like, let's be real.
People Mover? Can we just get People Mover back in Disneyland?
Okay, but I mean, just because it has one great attraction doesn't mean that, the land itself is a success. I think, like, when you go into Tomorrowland, I almost feel like I'm in that shady part of downtown LA where all the stores are closed. You know what I mean? And you're like, why is every store closed? I don't know. That's how it is, And that's how I feel every time I walk into Tomorrowland, which really gives me a bleak look on just the future. That I think that game Fallout, they probably had it right.
Oh,
they
boy.
probably know what they're talking about. We're all doomed.
And please don't give Tron to us. We don't want it.
No. Tron should not go over there. Like,
yeah, I don't want Tron.
You can get rid of the submarines, but put something else in there.
Oh, I like the submarine. I like the water aspect of it. I don't like the submarine, but I like the water.
That's the thing. Hey, that's definitely the thing about the water over there. Is it's like it's. I think Disney is even realizing now. I was talking about this with Katrina recently, where they're finally starting to realize, like, just make these nice hangout spots, and if you make these nice places where people want to hang out, they're gonna stand there all day, and they're gonna be spending money on the stuff that you're selling them. So I think with Toontown, they make all these amazing nice little spots to hang out with the new entrance to Epcot, and even over in downtown Disney, where they built that new stage area with the rolling hills and everything. They're realizing, like, let's make comfortable spaces and people will come and spend money. So
yeah.
And have picnics, right, Katrina?
And picnics.
Yes.
Right. Tons of picnics. All of them.
Bob Smith saying, hey, guys. Good to hear you, Bob. Always a pleasure. Hey. Thanks for dropping in.
What's up, Bob?
I want to say hi to Kim, too. So nice to see you in the chat. I love that. Hello.
Is this Kim related
Mama
to
Heath.
you?
Hi, Kim Craig.
Is this Kim related to you, Wade? Or is this just
That's right. The parentals, it looks like, have joined us here. So
yay.
Yes. Hello to you both. Assuming that it's both and not just one versus the other. Either way, thanks for dropping by. Well, my friends, there's a lot to talk about news-wise this week. As mentioned, the biggest of all the stories, Bob Chapek, he's returning, but it may not be what you think. Yeah. So hang out with us here for just a moment. Let's dive into all the stories Disneyland side first, and hear exactly what's going on out west at the Disneyland Resort. Disneyland News Time, taking a look at some of the biggest stories from across the Disneyland Resort this week. KTLA reporting fans of Disney and Pixar's Turning Red movie will be able to meet characters from the animated feature during the resort's Lunar New Year festivities, theme park officials announced this past week. Mei-Lin Lee and her mother Ming Lee will appear at Disney California Adventure Park during its Lunar New Year celebration, which runs from January 23rd to February 18th. Quote, they love observing Chinese traditions together and is shown in the attached artist concept. 13-year-old Maylin is so excited that she has begun to turn into her red panda form, a news release said. Guests will also see Maylin Lee in her red panda form during the new daytime parade, Better Together, a Pixar Pals celebration set to debut at California Adventure during Pixar Fest in April. WDW News Today reports that the Disneyland Resort will be updating the entrance to both of its parks by constructing new gates. According to Scott Gustine on Twitter, the update will feature more gates, stroller accessibility, and ADA accessibility for both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure. Construction is set to start later this year. Building permits for the new gate were filed with the City of Anaheim on December 8, 2023 for both the updated park gates. For Disneyland Park, the description includes plans to remove existing turnstile and gates, install new automatic guest entry gates, fixed manual gates, and removable railings. The installation of overhead shrouds was also listed. For Disney California Adventure, plans include the removal of existing turnstile and gates to install new automatic guest entry gates, fixed manual gates, and removable railings, as well as new overhead shrouds. It's worth noting that Disney California Adventure had 2 separate permits filed for both the turnstile and the gate. BlogMickey.com reports 2024 will be an important year for the Disneyland Forward project, and it all kicks off next week with the City Council workshop scheduled for January 23rd. At the workshop, which is open to the public, more details will be covered in a discussion about the project. We still don't expect anything close to a level of detail, they say, such as what specific attractions or offerings are included with the project, which will be completed over decades, but the City of Anaheim is expected to release a proposed development agreement. This will be the second workshop for the project, following a Planning Commission workshop back in October 2023. The Disneyland Forward website has a page where people interested in attending the City Council workshop can sign up for the event or send a letter in support of the Disneyland Forward project. At a high level, the Disneyland Forward project is less of a project and more of a rezoning initiative. In order to expand the Disneyland Resort theme parks and entertainment venues, Disneyland requires rezoning approval from the City of Anaheim. The proposal calls for allowing theme park attractions alongside hotels on the west side of Disneyland Drive and theme park attractions alongside new shopping, dining, and entertainment to the southeast of what is today the Toy Story parking area. The proposal also calls for additional parking east of the theme parks and potential footbridges across Harbor Boulevard and Disneyland Drive. The proposal does not request any new acreage, square footage, or hotel rooms to be developed. Instead, it would shift already approved development amounts across land Disney owns. And finally, The Hollywood Reporter writes, former Disney CEO Bob Chapek has found his next gig. That's right, he's back. The executive is joining the board of directors of Masimo, the medical device company currently embroiled in a dispute with Apple over certain features of the tech giant's Apple Watch. Imports of the Apple Watch were halted after Masimo accused the company of infringing on its patents. Apple said that it will redesign the watch to remove a blood oxygen measurement functionality to avoid the ban. Quote, I am thrilled to join the Masimo board, Chapek said in a statement. I look forward to helping advance the company's growth by leveraging their core technologies in the consumer and consumer health spaces, close quote. Joe Chiani, chairman and CEO of Masimo, said, we are honored to have Bob join the board as we execute our hospital-to-home strategy. We expect to benefit greatly from Bob's role on our board, close quote. Chapek was terminated as Disney CEO in November 2022, with his predecessor Bob Iger returning to the company. Chapek's appointment comes the same day that Disney formally rejected board seats by the activist investor Nelson Peltz. The same filing also revealed that Chapek was paid nearly $10 million by Disney in its last fiscal year. It also revealed that Chapek's son, Brian, who stepped down as an executive at Marvel Entertainment when his father became CEO, returned to the company last year. There you have it, all the news from the Disneyland side of the world this week. Garrett, let's start with the fact that your good buddy, Bob Chapek, now has a seat on a corporate board for the first time since being removed as CEO. Anything about that story surprise you?
Well, I'm happy that he's back in sort of consumer products where he really, shined. Like that's I think his strongest background and that, and Massimo, just, pretty much prevented Apple from selling any watch in the U.S. Because of a patent infringe. So good for him and them. It's just weird seeing you're a Disney executive and now you're working for a medical device firm. It just seems like they don't really connect. But all I can say is that I'm happy for Bob to find a new gig and do something. Like, he has more than enough money to where he can never work again a single day, and he'd still have more than enough to go around. But it's weird to see him attached to a medical device firm. If he were to go to like Paramount or another entertainment company, or even just a different consumer brand, it'd be more likely. But they clearly see him as having expertise in the realm of consumer products and working with medical devices, I guess. So, good for Bob. Hope it treats him well. Don't come back to Disney.
Don't come back to Disney. That's right. Katrina, is it shocking to you? I didn't know this. His son was an executive at Marvel?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I was like, wait, how did no one talk about this?
What
Who
on
knew?
earth? Yeah.
Who knew? And then he came back after his daddy left. How did that go? How did that happen?
Gotta feel real comfortable going back.
Was that like one of his dad's like final things when he got fired? Was like, you're gonna rehire my son?
As long as he has a job, that's all I'm interested in.
I'll
hire my baby.
I'll leave gracefully. Just give him a job. No, I mean, I'm sure his son is a good guy. Like, he probably worked really hard for it. Who knows? But yeah, who knew? Not me.
Big surprise. And Tyler, that beard looks like it found another gig.
Yeah, it sure did. I think this is what's wrong with America.
You can fail so horribly and then get hired again.
We have seen you be an incredible loser. We've seen you dig a giant company into the ground, and just because you have money and you have a name, people are going to hire you. And I think that's pretty terrible, because there are plenty of people in this world that deserve to be making more money than Bob Chapek. And I guarantee you, I don't know.
Is he want to be the fall guy?
What's
Is that what he wants to be? He wants to be like the fall guy, or he try to get this company to win this whole Apple lawsuit thing and just be like the hero.
Well, let's be real. He has nothing to do with that lawsuit. I mean, unless he's really been dug in there for longer than this announcement has been around for. But I don't think that's the case, right? I don't think he has anything to do with the lawsuit.
No. It just happened to, he went on, this case just happened to happen.
Yeah. And so, what I have to say is that, thanks, Bob Chapek, for not only ruining Disney for me, but also taking away my Apple Watch. Love you.
Thank God I bought mine before this even happened.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I mean, no, but that's a joke. But but in all seriousness, I really do think it's pretty crappy that we see this failure of a man become such an important piece of another company. Even when he clearly has shown that why? Who is he? I don't know. You know what I mean? So why do we care? And it's because he's a rich white guy, and that sucks. I think that sucks.
If any other person was this, they wouldn't be able to rise to the top. Even a female, they would just be buried forever.
I mean, I gotta tell you guys, I think a year, removed from the CEO position, he went quiet, he went silent, as I think anybody would, going out in sort of disgrace, and being embarrassed the way he was on the way out. But a year later, and suddenly he's back on a board. And it makes me wonder, it's well, what sort of insight does this guy bring to the table for this medical company, where they think he can help?
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a different thing, like Garrett was saying earlier. It's such a different environment that I'm sorry, Bob Chapek, you do not seem like a jack of all trades. I'm sorry, you just don't seem like that person. So, I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but it's just the truth. And I don't get it. Again, it just seems really terrible. I don't know. I don't like it. Something about how it is. Something about the way it is making me feel like skeevy. You know what I mean? I don't like it.
Sure. It is a bit skeevy. Todd saying, well, I agree Chapek played a big role in the current state of Disney. Iger hasn't been much better. The current state of the Disney company, rather, as a whole, is very reminiscent of Eisner's last year's. It does feel like Eisner's last year's all of a sudden. I have to agree with all of the tumultuous Shakespearean backstabbing corporate politics at the top and performance of the company. I mean, it all is sort of history repeating itself to a certain degree. Feels kind of wild to me, Garrett.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're very right. But if it is like Eisner's last few years and history does repeat itself, then we know something bright is on the horizon, because after Eisner left, Bob Iger came in and he revolutionized the company by working with Pixar again, which was something Eisner almost destroyed completely. And it was sort of like a renaissance where Iger just went on this spending spree and Disney became more and more valuable. So I'm hoping that if history is repeating itself, then something bright is on the horizon, because, Iger's not going to be there much longer. His contract's about to be up and I can't see him really renewing it. And, right now everything looks like it's going to be tomorrow taking over. But yeah, right now the company is just in a state of sort of, I'd say, standstill, where it's, they're trying to clean up what's been going on and just trying to move away from politics and that sort of thing. So I'm curious to see what will happen in the future. But for now, we just have to wait and see and keep chewing that popcorn. And we know one thing, Chapek won't be coming back to Disney. So that's something to be happy about. But yeah, we just need to get Disney going again. It's like the the car stalled. We need to put in first gear and get it moving.
And I agree with what Todd is saying, and even like Mike in the chat here, who's saying that a lot of these issues stem from Iger. Like, I do agree with that this is not all Chapek's fault. But I will say that, like, when I think of like Disney's CEO, it honestly is a very special job. It's not a job that is for any executive. Like, I'm just going to be real, because what this person's job is to be the next Walt Disney. Like, straight up, you are going to be the next Walt Disney. And to put somebody like Chapek in that position, where sure, he could have been the best even if he was the best businessman on the planet, if he's going to come out there and he's not going to like have this amazing presence that everybody immediately is just like in love with, like, honestly, like Iger is, like, then he's just going to fail. That's just how it's going to be, and that's why, even though Iger, it probably is responsible for a lot of the issues with the company, when you really boil things down, at the end of the day, he's just so much more of a personality and so much more likable. Yeah. And I think that really goes a long way. And I think I really do think if you really went and looked back at the history of Disney, was Walt the businessman? No, he wasn't, No,
he was the idea guy.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what we need from a CEO. We need somebody who, unfortunately, now you need somebody who's even going to be crazier than Walt, because they need to be an amazing businessman and they need to be the idea guy at the same time. So it's an insane job that I think there's only a couple people on the planet can even stand up to be real. And I think that's why somebody like Chapek, you look at them and they're just not good enough. I'm sorry. That's just how it is.
That's just how it is. Well, Bob Smith is saying he believes in you, Tyler.
Well, yay. Bob, my biggest supporter. I love you, Bob Smith. Mm-hmm. And, just keep sending in those votes. And one day, thank you. Thank you for that.
So great.
I want that on a button and I want to wear it around the park.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny.
Start following all the execs that are walking around the park, and then just start pointing at your button.
Yeah, we should start passing out buttons. I'm kind of into that idea.
That'd be so great.
He's doing some great job. He's doing some great PR. I think you should really give him a have a conversation with him. He will really open your eyes and transform this company.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you, Garrett.
Transformation on the way, magic on the way, all thanks to Tyler Crouch. Katrina, new entry gates coming to Disneyland and California Adventure. Is this, you think this is going the way of like Disneyland Forward? You think this is being sort of incorporated into the idea of, hey, we're expanding, so we might as well get ahead of it all and start with the main entrance? Or where do you think this sudden burst of inspiration is coming from for the sake of making new entry gates at both theme parks?
Man, I think they really needed it anyway. I remember like Tyler and I went last week, and I was even talking about the entry gates actually recently. I was like, why do they have these? These are so silly. They're so ancient. They're so old. They need to be redone. My booty can't even fit over it. I have to go sideways through. And so I was like, these are like, and then just opening the gates, it just makes it such a hassle. Like it's such a cluster to have that middle gate opening. And they don't even have the gates on there anymore. They took the gates off for people like with the strollers, or if there's people with the ECVs or strollers or anything like that. It's just kind of, it was necessary. They need to redo it. I didn't know why they've never redone it. I always just thought it was because of the union contract that they had, because I really wanted magic bands to go in there because it's just easy. It's fast. There's, 2 little spots. One person controls all, like there's like 2 lines and they control all 4. And then it's just easy, fast, and strollers go through, people in wheelchairs go through, it's just so much easier. But I always thought there was like some type of union issue on the reasoning why we never got this. And they're trying to pimp out magic bands, and you can't even use them. There's so like, you don't even want to use them. You just use your phone because you bring it out once and then you're done. You don't have to use your magic band, like really, unless you do like Lightning Lane or whatever. But for annual pass holders, like we don't even use it because we never buy Lightning Lane unless there's somebody visiting us, So we just use our phones, scan in, and then that's it. We honestly bought magic bands and we don't even use them anymore. We keep forgetting to charge them. So it's just a problem. Anyway,
I like to use my Apple Watch that Chapek is trying to take away from me.
Yeah. It's true. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it's
he
needed.
slowly takes away access to the parks. He's like, they can't let me in. I won't let anyone in.
Right. If I can't have it, no one will. But it's definitely needed. I don't know if it's going to be magic bands. They didn't really allude to it. They just said wider areas for people to get through for ADA compliance. But they would have to.
Yeah, if they're doing new turnstiles and they're not putting in like magic band support, then I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they have to. I think they needed to do this for a long, long time. And so they're finally doing this first and then doing Disneyland Forward versus like, okay, like, because it's going to be needed, same with like, I don't know. I can't really say freeways like in LA because they suck at all times.
Well, let's be honest. The real change we need, listen, more turnstiles, sure, great, whatever. The security needs to be faster. That's the real
my God. Well, that's
bottleneck.
the next thing, but that's a union issue.
Yeah, but it's just like, the fact
when
that
they want to have it, it would be so much easier for them. But then,
if
like
less
5 other
people
people would lose their job.
Yeah, if less.
Yeah,
people
you
were
remember, Tyler, right? The experimentation with what Disney World has,
right?
With the panel scanners that you just walk through and nobody stops.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, you remember they tried that at Downtown Disney. That lasted for a couple of weeks, and then we never saw them again. Wonder why.
Yeah.
I really do think they were talking about like, how many people. Oh, so what I think happened is they realized through their tests that they could use less employees to run the security screening. And when the union found out they could use less employees, the union stepped in the way and stopped
exactly what happened.
Security from happening.
Yeah.
So,
they don't even thoroughly search your stuff. Like some people really do. Like they look in all the crevices of my purse. But then there's like, one person that like I literally put my purse on the counter going from Grand Californian to DCA, and he barely like opened my bag and was like, okay. And I was like, how safe is this?
It's like TSA. They're not going to get everything. They might get a few big items, but overall, it gives you a false sense of security where you're like, no, it is what it is. But I think when I heard new entryways, I honestly thought like we're getting new entrances, like side entrances. I got really excited, like what they have at DCA over by the Grand California. And then you read the full story, and it's like, oh, the title kind of leads you down one direction, but I think they're going to go the maybe Disney World route where, not have the turnstiles, maybe just have a scanner or something like that so that there's more room. But if they get rid of the, the bird whistle and the magic sound, I'm going to be so upset because I don't like the sounds at Walt Disney World where it's like ding, 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 or whatever. Like, I like that. Like, I like that. Or
I do like that sound.
I do like the whistle.
Yeah,
but I will say
sounds are amazing.
I will say what I like more than the whistle, though, is what I really want them to do, and this is kind of going a little more off topic, but I would really love for them to really dig into the features that they set up for the magic bands and actually give more of them unique sounds, because there's a lot of special magic bands that'll actually give you unique animations and sound effects. And I
love
would really,
my Moana, not my Moana one, but
the volcano one from the Pixar volcano one is crazy, because when she puts that on there, the lava shard, when she puts that on the magic band reader, it literally, you can see a tiny little volcano erupting from the LED lights. Like, they made this little animation. Cool. We have another one that is a Figment magic band from Food and Wine, and when you put it on the magic band reader, it sounds like food sizzling on a pan, and you see like the little flame underneath the pan. It's like really cool. Like, I want them to lean into that stuff. That's what I really want them to do. That would be amazing.
Wouldn't
all
it?
Those specialties, right? Well, and that was the whole idea with Magic Band, was that it was supposed to really customize personal experiences for the first time, and I would love to see that too.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Each one would have a different sound too. That'd be really fun. Like the Haunted Mansion one you have does like the Haunted Mansion sound. Like that'd be fun.
Yeah, and as much as I do agree with you though, Garrett, that there's something about that whistle that brings you back to every Disneyland trip you've ever had. I totally respect what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah. You guys go a lot more than I do, so that's just the thing that I think of first. I think of the whistle, but if they have more effects and the whistle can be one of those, then I'm all for it. But change it.
Now that would be amazing. Bring back a classic turnstile magic band, and then you can have that sound effect play when you go through. Come on, Disney, we're printing money for you. Seriously.
How easy is this? And maybe it will be a part of the Disneyland Forward ideas. Who knows? As the entire theme park resort gets set to be, presented once again to the City Council and the Planning Commission of the City of Anaheim going forward here. I saw the list of dates this year. It is a big year for especially votes and agreements on all of these things that are coming. However, the details have remained scarce in terms of specifics of what they want to do. Still, even with the votes and even with all of the agreements that need to be put in place for this sort of a thing, I always like to remind folks, remember what Josh D'Amaro said just a few months ago, and that was, we're really going to see the majority of the developments of this $60 billion infusion towards like 2030, like the end of the decade.
Yeah. It's
sounds accurate.
So you can't say like the giant investment is very attractive, but a lot of that's going to go into R&D and also just getting the land ready. That's where I think a majority of the costs go with, because if you have roads and buildings, you've got to tear that stuff out, rip it up. You can't just create a bunch of explosions in Southern California. That's not really a good thing where you hear a lot of booms going off.
I feel like it's just a bunch of parking lot though. I think they're ready to go. It's like how they built California Adventure. It's like all they got to do is take up the concrete or the asphalt, and they've got it. It's like even in Florida, they have to build on like swamps and marshlands and stuff. I feel like this is going to be easier for them than Florida.
Yeah. I just hope we get Superstar Limo back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Drew Carey deserves an animatronic. Let's be honest.
Oh gosh. What a haunting image that is.
Haunting image for sure. Hopefully this Disneyland Forward thing brings us in, by way of the Planning Commission and stuff, brings us some more digestible bits rather than just surface level stuff. I'd love to hear more specifics about like, okay, we'd like to raise this area or we'd like to eliminate this area, just to give us more of an idea as to what's coming overall. Because there's been a lot of talk and not much action or additional details. And so it's getting to the point now where like I'm tired of hearing about Disneyland Forward because there's nothing new, there's nothing interesting, there's nothing else that they're adding to the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if I were Disney, I would be a little bit afraid to, really put all my cards on the table at this point, because looking back on it, I feel like we'd all be like, oh yeah, it's a slam dunk. Anaheim should definitely let them. So basically, just to take a step back, like Disneyland Forward is really, at the end of the day, it's about letting Disney change their zoning so that they can build theme park in places where theme park is technically not supposed to be built right now. That's right. Really like the bottom line of what they're trying to do here. So I just feel like if I was Disney, I would be very worried about just putting all my cards on the table until they know for sure that Anaheim is on board with this, because they got bitten that in the butt before when they tried to build that hotel, and then they wanted to move it over a couple feet as the story goes, and then Anaheim said no. And so, I think they have a much better relationship with Anaheim at this point than they did when that hotel was being considered. But I still think if I were them, I'd be like, well, we're not going to sink millions and millions and millions into this until we know for sure that we're going to be okay to be building,
That's for sure. Judith saying with this Disneyland Forward, I don't think they want to appear to promise something that they cannot deliver on. Yeah, I agree with that, Judith. But then why announce it at all? Why bring anything forward? Why share any of these details? If you're not ready to rock and roll, stop trying to get people interested. Stop trying to dangle the carrots out to the community like they continue to do. They have these road shows locally in front of Disneyland all the time and in city parks trying to get Anaheim on board with agreeing that this is what needs to happen. And I understand you need public support too, but this has now been getting talked about for years. And it feels like now we're at a phase where, all right, if agreements are coming into place, now it's time to start issuing more bigger, I guess, more significant pieces, if you will, of what is to come. Because you can only whet an appetite for so long, and then people start to yawn and go, all right, are you not doing anything? Like, why, what? I'm fatigued at this point.
Disney is one of those companies that tries so hard to control everything that happens under their umbrella that it's also like, I consider it kind of like a lumbering beast of a company. You know what I mean? Like it can't turn on a dime. There's so many moving parts to this company that any little thing that has to happen takes more time than anybody even expects, because it's got to go through lists and lists of different people with different jobs. And I really just feel like that's what happens to them more often than not. When they think, oh yeah, it's time for us to announce we want to do this project, they have no idea sometimes the amount of time it's going to take them, just because of all of the like bureaucracy, I think that's really what it boils down to.
I'm glad they didn't go into more of a blue sky concept where it's like, here's some of the ideas we have, where they just like, hey, here's sort of they have like, obscure images that you can kind of make out, but not really. I'm glad they went that route rather than promising us something. But I like how they're still focusing on Disneyland Forward, but we still haven't gotten a new entrance to Disneyland's Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this on a few, I think at the end of last year and throughout 2023, where, they have this amazing, beautiful, picture, and now it's peeling and being hit by the elements and it's just fading away. So just give us a new Tomorrowland entrance, and then we can have a little faith that you can do something a little bit bigger.
Couldn't agree more. Todd saying, I think they are ready to start rocking and rolling. And at this point, I think it's up to the Anaheim City Council to give their blessing. Cross your fingers. Let's hope that is all we are waiting on. Barbara's saying, when are reservations going away? Well, we know they are officially a thing of the past out east for the most part. Katrina, are they going to go away at Disneyland anytime soon?
Not if Disney can control it. They never want it. Like, they want to make sure that they have enough room for everybody, because Disneyland is always so up in the air on who's coming and who's not coming type of thing, especially for annual pass holders. so they want to control it more.
This is true. They love their control of the AP base, which is over 1 million strong in Southern California. That is not an exaggeration. So when those people all want to show up at the same time, they're the ones that cause havoc. They're the ones that create infrastructure issues. And
especially special events, those types of things. You know what I mean? Like Saturdays are always the busiest days, and like Fridays. So if Disney's able to force you to make a reservation, then they're going to make you do it.
They max things out. That's for sure. Kim Craig saying, do they need building permits even when it's on the property? So as I understand it, there are already pieces of the property zoned for expansion of a particular caliber. It's any of the new things that they want to do that they need additional permits for and additional zoning for. So that's all being hashed out right now with the City Council and the Planning Commission. So that is all on the way. Javier saying, hey, Tyler, I have a question specifically to you, Tyler. Why'd Bob Chapek come back? I thought he got fired. Well, Javier, you're late. You're late.
I just type in the chat. It's a little clickbait. We do a little clickbaiting around here, you know.
So, we did share a little bit earlier, Javier. The moral of the story here, he returned, yes, but not to the Disney company. He returned to a board seat with another company, and we just hashed that out. So when you get a chance after the live show's over, going back, listen to this discussion. I think it was very well fleshed out at this point. But that's what's going on. Bob Chapek, he's returned for the first time after being removed from Disney to another job. So that's what's going on. And now it is time to share with you everything that is going on out east at Walt Disney World and beyond, including that nasty fight happening at the top of Disney with that activist shareholder. He is not going away either. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about on that end too. Walt Disney World News Time. It begins right now. Walt Disney World News Time, taking a look at some of the biggest stories coming out of the Orlando theme parks. Our first one kicking us off from our friends at dapsmagic.com. They write, Walt Disney World has extended its Disney After Hours events into the summer. These events have been extended through August 2024 at Magic Kingdom, EPCOT, and Disney's Hollywood Studios. These after-hours events allow guests to experience these parks with less people by attending these special ticketed events that have fewer people in the parks. Because of this, guests can generally experience more attractions and other offerings during the 3 hours they get during the events. There are some perks that Disney shares for those attending Disney After Hours events. They include lower wait times for attractions. This event lets a limited number of guests explore the park after it closes, therefore offering shorter wait times at some favorite attractions. And you can snag some snacks, delight in select ice cream novelties, popcorn, and beverages, all included in the cost of this ticketed event, available at carts stationed throughout the park. And get a head start on the fun. Guests who are attending Disney After Hours events can get into the parks before the event begins. The following times are when guests can enter each park. Magic Kingdom, events beginning at 10 p.m., and guests can enter at 7 p.m. EPCOT, events begin at 10 p.m. and guests can enter at 7 p.m. Hollywood Studios, events begin at 9:30 p.m. and guests can enter at 7 p.m. More details and tickets for each of the Disney After Hours events can be found at WaltDisneyWorld.com. The Sun reports if you are a fan of Disney's Boardwalk Resort's Big River Grill and Brewing Works restaurant, you better hurry up and grab a table because there are just hours left until it is shut down. Luckily, however, fans of the restaurant have some delicious food trucks coming to their rescue, but Big River Grill will close permanently this month as part of ongoing renovations at Disney's Boardwalk Resort. The business disclosed that effective January 21st, its Walt Disney World site would permanently close, signaling the end of an era for the restaurant franchise. The restaurant provided visitors with an indoor and outdoor eating experience provided by a third party. It was not owned nor run by Disney. The eatery returned in February 2021 after closing during the COVID-19 pandemic. The site of the new establishment has not been disclosed, but Disney claims that food trucks will be open for extra lunch options starting on January 22nd, the day after Big River Grill shuts down. In the past several years, Disney's Boardwalk Resort has seen a number of dramatic changes, including the closure of several venues. As part of the restorations, other locations like the 28-year-old ESPN Club have been razed. At Walt Disney World, Big River Grill and Brewing Works was the sole operational brew pub. And finally, Yahoo Finance writes, Nelson Peltz said the Walt Disney Company is unable to heal self-inflicted wounds under current leadership and should be aiming for Netflix-like margins days after the entertainment giant knocked back the activists' bid for a seat on its board. In a proxy statement on Thursday, Peltz's Tryon Fund Management Group, which holds about $3 billion in Disney stock, reiterated calls for an overhaul of governance and strategy at the California-based company. Tryon last year nominated Peltz and Jay Rizzullo, Disney's CFO, from 2010 to 2015, for positions on the media group's board as part of its efforts to improve performance. Disney on Tuesday rejected the proposal, saying Peltz lacked new ideas, and Rizzullo had been away from the media business for too long. Quote, "It is unfortunate that a company as iconic as Disney and with so many challenges and opportunities has refused to seriously engage with us, its largest active share owner, about board representation," Peltz said in a Thursday filing. Disney this week said it's had no less than 20 meaningful interactions with Peltz since the Tryon founder dropped an earlier push for a board seat last February. Those included a November 19th sit-down in New York between Peltz and Disney Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger. A representative for Disney declined to comment. Peltz has previously criticized Disney for bungling its own CEO transition after Iger returned to the company back in November 2022 following the ouster of his successor, Bob Chapek, saying, quote, "Disney is resisting change and asking shareholders to endorse a board comprised mainly of legacy directors and their handpicked successors, who have repeatedly failed to properly plan for CEO succession, misaligned the incentives of management, and failed to oversee or drive a strategy to get the streaming business to profitability or the studios to produce good content," close quote. Peltz said that in Thursday's filing. Tryon wants Disney to target margins akin to those of Netflix of 15 to 20% by full year 2027. It said the company needs a board-led review of creative processes to reclaim its number one box office position. The investment firm plans to give more details about its goals and initiatives to achieve them in a full shareholder presentation at a later date. There you have it, everything happening in Walt Disney World. Quick update for you. Garrett Hassel had to bounce, but he loved being here for the first half of the show. And now it's just down to Tyler, Katrina, and myself. You think we can do this, guys? You think we'll be okay?
Yeah, I think we'll push through.
You know, I'm not used to there
really happy
being
about
no
it.
golden goose here, but you know, I'll just have to go without my eggs today.
Yeah. That's funny.
Katrina's little noises are always the best. Hey, Walt Disney World After Hours events are being extended through summer, as we mentioned there. Katrina, tell me, why do you think we are seeing these After Hours events being extended after the announcement that they were coming back online? Is this plotting for something? Are they planning for something? What's going on here, do you think?
I don't know what their angle is on this. I don't know. I mean, they get more money is pretty much it. It's just like, we've gone to a couple after hours events. It was actually like they were really fun. I honestly haven't been in like a few years, so I don't really know how they are now, but back then it was definitely worth the money. And with with the fast pass issues, now it's like, Disney or Genie Plus, but we got snackies, we got water and sodas, whatever we wanted. The lines were like empty, so that was always really nice just to have available to us for extra cash, or if you have extra cash to spend and you don't really want to do a Genie Plus day, and you really just want to go gung-ho at Magic Kingdom or something and ride all the rides, and then you get ice cream and till you throw up. You can eat as many ice creams as you want. So whatever you want. And so if you're ready for it and you just want to ride a whole bunch of rides, throw up over how much ice cream you can eat, it's totally worth it. But I don't really know why they're doing it in the summer though, because it's usually like a busy there no matter what.
Maybe the goal is to try and wedge in some additional folks into the evening hours. I know, I always think back to extra magic hours that you used to get as part of, just being a Disney World Resort guest, and how, that would go on until 1 or 2 in the morning, especially in those summer. Nice. Yeah. When you think about Orlando summers having those really late night opportunities what a treat that is, because the heat of the day is unbearable in Orlando
I mean,
during
even
the
at
summertime.
night, it's unbearable. I remember like we went, I mean, I think maybe it was in the summer. There was there was an after hours event. I don't remember what it was, but I wasn't really used to how hot Florida was. And I was already sweating all day and trying to drink like tons of water. And I didn't really think about drinking any type of electrolyte things besides like a couple, like a smart water or whatever here and there.
Oh, you.
But I know. And then literally I almost fainted. Tyler went on Space Mountain and I was just kind of like hanging out using my little, whatever, I don't know, like plastic plaque thingy that they give you for after hour events. And I was using it as like a fan.
Your lanyard?
To fan my lanyard. Sure. Yeah, that's what it's called. To use as a fan. And this sweet little cast member lady was just like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't feel great." And she's like, "Have you drank water?" And I was like, "Yeah, I drink some water here and there." And she goes, "You need more than that." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And so we got a Powerade, and then it saved my life. But honestly, it was like miserable because it's still really hot. Like you're just drenched in sweat at night and you don't understand why. You're like, nighttime, it should be cold. Like we're so used to California in the summer, and at night it's cold. It's cooler. It's not cold, but it's cooler.
Right.
And there it's like it has not changed. The temperature has not changed.
Right.
Yeah, going to Florida at night is like, how sometimes, just to cool yourself off a little bit, you're gonna stick your leg out the comforter. It's like you're sleeping in your bed, and you're like, I need a little cool down session. Let me stick my leg out. Going to Florida at night is like being stuck under the comforter and not being able to take your leg out.
It's true.
So damp.
Yes.
Yeah, so damp.
Exactly.
It's not
warm
fun.
and damp.
But this is, it's worth it for like maybe just to, for the sun aspect of it and everything is just like to go at night. Tyler and I used to love doing the extra magic hours when we would fly from California over to Florida because we're 3 hours behind. So when we had the magic hours, we'd always go to Magic Kingdom because Magic Kingdom was open until 2 a.m. And so then we would really hit the rides that we wanted to go on that day and then never go back to Magic Kingdom for like the rest of the trip because it's such a pain in the butt to go to. So we would just hang out at Epcot or any other park after
Good times.
I know.
It's
right?
all. Yeah, and hey, if you can afford the after hours events, maybe you at least don't
can afford it.
Right. Yeah, you at least don't have the beating it down sun on you, so it's a little bit more manageable for you if you're out there at the Orlando parks. Let's shift gears here and talk about what I think is definitely a surprise, and that is the sudden closure of the Big River Grill Brewing Works restaurant along Disney's Boardwalk. For those that don't know, this is just out the back door, the International Gateway side of EPCOT, the Boardwalk Resort area. Very popular area, very popular destination. A lot of the Disney Resort hotels sort of, get built and created around this body of water. So the boardwalk itself, just a few steps away from EPCOT, Big River Grill suddenly closing down. No real announcement other than like, oh yeah, we're done Sunday. We're all done here. Tyler, your thoughts on the closure of this restaurant along the boardwalk?
I think you seem a little you said you're surprised that this is closing, but I feel like Disney feels the same way that the rest of the Disney guests feel, which is when they think about Big River, they go, big who? Big what? What? So I think there's very little forethought that goes into what are we gonna do with Big River. I think they I've eaten at Big River one time. It was probably one of the most mediocre things I've ever experienced at a restaurant.
Whoa.
It's like going to a TGI Fridays or an Applebee's. It's on that level, I would say they have their beers. They have their beer selection that is, it was just for them. It was an exclusive thing for them. And I thought that was a fun experience. But like the food itself is very much like, I need to eat something and I want to watch some sports. So I guess I'll go and eat this mediocre food, So, I'm surprised that it lasted as long as it has. So I'm kind of the opposite of you, Wade, because I'm surprised every time I walk past it, I go, wow, this is still here. And so I figured it was about time. When they said it's gone, I was like, yeah, I get it. And also the other thing too is that I've never met anybody who's like, wow, you guys, you need to go to Big River. Hey, next time you go to Disney, head over to Big River. Trust me. Nobody has ever said that in their life. So, I just think that's where we're at with it. It was unimpressive, and it gets an unimpressive closing. And I'm excited to see what, is going to be taking its place, because Big River has always been something that I avoid, because why would I, go for mediocre when I'm on vacation?
And steps away from EPCOT with a lot of outstanding international cuisine. And
that's totally true too. Yeah.
I'll say this to you. So my shock isn't so much about the food quality, the restaurant itself. It's more of every place at Disney World has a following to some degree. Every location is beloved to some degree. And to seemingly out of nowhere pull the plug on a place without really mentioning it or soaking all you can get out of it in the end, which Disney also loves to do. And I get it, this is a third-party restaurant, but nobody thought to mention, like, hey, it's in its final few weeks, or hey, this is its final month. Disney usually, when they push something as going away forever, that sends a crowd. That usually sends a group of people to boost sales, at least in the end. And it's one, final way to get the extra cash on the way out the door. I think that's why I'm surprised, is there was no fanfare, no word, no nothing. It's just, we're done. Sunday.
No,
goodbye.
I do understand your perspective. I do understand what you're saying. I know that you're right. Disney does like to do exactly what you're saying, but that's my point, is that this is such a this restaurant is such
it's so bad.
No, I'm saying that, and Disney knows that there are not enough people that care, that it didn't need this, and Richard Davis here, probably a missed opportunity. I often see people posting about where can I watch a particular sports game while at World. You know what? They have such an opportunity to make a way better sports bar than Big River at this point. Like, that's what I would say.
I really think they need something like that over there.
I think there are a lot of places to watch sports, but I do think that if they really want to keep it a sports bar, I think they have an opportunity to make it such a better place than it is right now. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I think this is a great story, because I think that I'm serious, because I think that
we got space to do stuff now.
Yeah, because this is it's a place, everybody on their normal vacations. I know a lot of people go on, like, they have their traditional vacations, and everybody has their places that they just completely avoid because it just doesn't do anything for them. And that, I think, is Big River for a lot of people. And I'm not trying to be mean. I just think that's just the case. I really just think that's the truth.
I have no attachment to it. I couldn't care less whether it comes or goes. It's more of the shock of, we're just kicking this to the curb and not another word. Todd saying, I've stayed at Boardwalk Inn and didn't even realize Big River was there. Needless to say, I'm probably not going to miss it. Yeah, I don't think so, Todd.
That's fair. Every time I walk to Hollywood Studios and then I walk by that area, I go, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that existed.
That's the thing about Big River. If you're not staying at Swan and Dolphin, there really isn't a reason to walk in that direction of the boardwalk. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you're staying at Boardwalk, or even if you're staying at
Jelly
Beach
Rolls
Club, maybe Jelly Rolls, but Jelly Rolls is, that's a whole side hustle that Disney has going. It's not necessarily, their main market. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just feel like Big River is kind of in a place where people don't really need to walk. So I could see it being hard for them to get traffic, for sure.
It's at the end of the boardwalk that no one goes to. They've already turned around to walk back.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I remember in the 90s, and I don't know how you guys remember it. Wade, I'm not sure if you were ever around Boardwalk when it was kind of a more when it was a newer area of the resort. But I remember the boardwalk was like popping at night. Like people were out there just walking. They just wanted to walk around in a circle. I mean, and just have a nice night, on the water. And I remember it being a very popular place, and I
It's a
feel like
different time back then. They didn't have cell phones to keep them occupied. They had to talk to each
I don't
other.
know. But I feel like in recent years, it's just they struggle to get people to come over there and hang out. If you're not staying at one of those resorts, there's no reason to go over there, And so I think Disney was successful in marketing it as a place that you should go to, even if you weren't staying there. And now it's completely flipped. And also to top it off, sorry, just to keep on going on that, they also they make it scary to try to go to other resorts now. When you try to go to another resort, you've got the security guard being like, "Why are you here?" Like, "Oh, well, we're here to go to a restaurant." Well, right now we're not letting you park here if you're not staying at this resort. Like, they're like so serious about their resort parking that like you're killing the boardwalk by being so strict, But
I don't disagree when it comes to especially the boardwalk inn. I don't know what it is about that security. I mean, I get it. I think the resorts that are closest to the theme park entrances, they probably have a hell of a time keeping people away that don't belong there, that would just want to take advantage of the close parking. I'm sure that's what it is. But yeah, I've been put through the third degree, just going to like Trattoria Al Forno at the boardwalk, like for breakfast. I've gone in there before. I'm in the back of an Uber, and the security just like, it's like going through, TSA. It's like they're shouting at you and yelling at you, and like,
like a border patrol thing.
Yeah, take your magic band out and let me scan it. Make sure you have a reservation. Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that wild?
Some of the security guards are just like so ambivalent to the whole situation, and they're just like, they just want to see your ID and you're off. But then other ones, there's so many times where like we have straight up anxiety when we're rolling up to that security booth because
like
you never
sweating
know.
and shaking the whole time.
Because you never know. Even though you have a reservation to something, you never know when they're gonna like be like, they're gonna make you feel bad about having a reservation for something, and, and you're like, bro, like I'm just trying to go and eat the food that I signed up for over a month ago. Like,
just give me my chicken parm, okay? God,
give me my chicken farm.
Just leave me alone. I have sweaty pits and everything as we're driving up. I'm like, okay, here's everything. I have a reservation. Here's the screen.
But yeah, no, but like we're joking around, but yeah, I think truthfully, like they killed the boardwalk, partially because of their attitude like that. So
yeah, thanks
I wouldn't be surprised.
Disney security, you ruin the vibe.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. With that sort of scrutiny, just to get onto the property, it's like, well. I mean, do people even can you park just to go to the boardwalk? Like, is that even an option anymore? It doesn't seem like it. I mean, they're that.
Hit and miss. That's the thing, right? It's either you get rejected and then, because sometimes people just show up and be like, oh, I just want to grab a drink at Abracadabra, or I want to go get a drink over here, or I want to try to see if there's a walk-up available or something. But it's a hit and miss. You can have the security guard being like, yeah, sure, okay, go ahead and park over there. Or you have them being like, no.
Yeah.
Go park over at EPCOT and walk your butt over.
And the interesting thing, like I've kind of had this epiphany, like as we're talking too, is like I was saying earlier, like I remember in the 90s going to Disney and them like it was an advertisement, like come to the boardwalk, come and eat, come and hang out. And now they're like, stay away. It's near EPCOT. We don't want you. We want the people that are spending $800 a night to be here, not you. Go away.
Go park at Swan and Dolphin. We have to pay per hour to park.
Yeah.
They know there. That's the place to soak you. Yes, that's for sure.
Wow, we got off topic a little bit, but I feel like it was a very interesting conversation.
It's all encompassing of the boardwalk and sort of why something might fail. I think you're onto something here. Is if you're not going to drive traffic to that space, then why have it?
Yeah. So now I'm very curious to go back to the beginning. I'm very curious what'll be going in with where Big River was. I'm excited. I am excited because I do like the boardwalk area, and I'm excited to see something that maybe I will care about. I think that'll be
Hot dogs.
And not just me.
Hot
Maybe
dogs.
maybe no, please don't put hot dogs
Hot
there.
diggity dogs is what's going to be called.
Not just hot dog. No, please don't. I don't like it.
A Potato Land themed restaurant.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
God,
Now
that is
now
my
I'm
favorite
down.
thing in the whole world. I'd eat so much potatoes.
Man, I eat all the
love
potatoes.
Bring it on. Well, changes are afoot there on the boardwalk, and perhaps changes are afoot when it comes to the Walt Disney Company as a whole. Nelson Peltz is not giving up his attack on the Disney board and Disney leadership after his board bid was rejected once again. We detailed it for you there in the story just a few minutes ago. Tyler, this guy is relentless and furious at the fact that he is not being taken seriously, it feels like. Jay Rizzullo, obviously that Disney CFO of the past, former Disney Parks chairman himself, also somebody he's trying to get as, sort of nominated to be part of that board. They want to come in. They want to make some changes. They clearly are not happy with Bob Iger. You think we see before the year is over, Nelson or Jay make it onto this board?
No. no.
No.
So here's what I'll say is like Disney they are used to dealing with attractions, right? They have many attractions. They know how to they know the maintenance, they know the plans, they get that stuff together, right? They know what they're doing with. So and most people would say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? I think that's how most people would say the squeaky wheel.
Most people say that.
Oil. Yeah. I think Disney would say, nah, we've done maintenance long enough. Squeaky wheels, it's all good. We don't need to deal with the squeaky wheels. And so I think Nelson Peltz right here, he's the squeakiest wheel of them all. And you know what Disney does with squeaky wheels? They say, nah, we're good. We're good. You're just going to give more problems than you're worth. So
we don't need your squeak.
We're just going to ignore you because the squeakiness, annoying. I don't need the annoyance. I think that's what Disney says.
Well,
I agree.
Katrina, I was going to say, it's one thing to be a squeaky wheel, though. It's another thing to be the most powerful squeaky wheel there is. This guy has more control than any shareholder. You can't just ignore somebody like this and have him go away. He's certainly not going to be silent. He's been doing this for well over a year now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's making himself look bad, right? Like, why would Disney really want to keep up with him if he's like keeps harping over stuff and then makes him like he's he's making it like what Tyler said is like a person that always complains. They're not gonna help. Like they want to get rid of him.
I was using a funny little metaphor, but like in all reality, when you're somebody who's going to come in and you're going to keep on saying like, no, we need to change, you're not even a part of the company yet to be. I mean, again, he has the most shares. I understand, but he's really not, he really is not a decision maker. Obviously, not on the board. So, and I think when you have people on the board, seeing that this man is coming in and like basically his first inclination is attack. His first inclination is let me aggressively change how this should go. And I think any person, I'm not even saying the board at Disney, any people that would see this man coming at them would already be a little bit turned off. You know what I'm saying? So I just think like sometimes the persistence, sometimes the just, getting out there and saying how important you are or just not relenting, I think is something that scares giant companies like Disney away from you. I think there becomes a time where you need to start playing your hand a little bit more creatively than just let me just be aggressive the entire time that I'm
give solutions
trying to make my point. Yeah, solutions is. I mean, I think he tried to give a solution, but his solution was like, such an armchair situation. In my opinion, it just seemed like, and it's kind of like what we do too, but we're not in positions of power, and I wouldn't. We joke around about me becoming CEO or whatever, but I would never think to myself, oh, I'm capable of being Disney's CEO, because I can have many opinions, but at the end of the day, I don't exactly know what is going on. And I feel like that's actually the case with this gentleman right now. He can offer his opinions, but at the end of the day, he's a man that just kind of seems like he has a lot of money, and I'm not really sure. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure what the rest of his you know, why does he, what does he bring to the table? I'm not really sure. So, and I'm sure Disney's thinking the same thing. What does he bring to the table besides money and aggressively disagreeing with us?
He's certainly somebody that carries a lot of influence by way of vote, with his shares. And, I think it's something to be especially reminiscent of here when it comes to how the last time there was an activist shareholder who had a majority, they were able to turn things around. Keep in mind, Roy Disney, along with somebody else from the board, they resigned their spots from the board and rallied the shareholders. Now, I get it. This guy isn't a Disney, so he doesn't have the same clout that would probably bring most of the shareholders together behind him, because he's not a Disney, so he kind of loses out on that natural affinity for the brand from those shareholders that might be feeling the same way that he does. But yeah, to tag team essentially with Jay Rizzullo, this past almost CEO. Remember, this guy got groomed to become CEO, and the board passed on him. Talk about a grievance. He's back. He wants to be on that board now. To know that Nelson Peltz is frustrated with the company. He vocalizes a lot of things that many people are feeling right now, that many people feel towards the company. So he's got public opinion on his side for the most part. He vocalizes a lot of similar sentiments about this company is not performing the way that it should. This company has lost its way. This company is not anywhere near what it should be right now. And his concerns about this board of directors being out of touch, I don't think is entirely off base. I think this board of directors has failed on multiple occasions to do the right thing. I mean, my God, just look at how terribly they handled the succession plan of Bob Iger the first time around. He had to extend his contract like 3 or 4 times, and then they agreed Bob Chapek was the right guy. I mean, he has some real merit to what he's saying here, and that is they don't know what they're doing. Clearly, it's a legacy board that needs to be shaken up. It's a legacy board, and it might not be Peltz or Jay Rizzullo that are the right fit for it, but they certainly need to start replacing some faces on that board, because they are all too comfortable, it feels like, all too allegiant to pledge their allegiance, if you will, to Bob Iger, and to continue doing what it is that he thinks needs to be done, when clearly his year back has not proven to correct very much. I may have said it last week on the live show. I may have said it even going back to the end of last year, where I was discussing, I think Bob Iger is really going to regret having come back now. I think his goodwill is used up. He is not the magic touch that he used to be, and people are pissed, and they're losing money left and right. And Disney was just overtaken by Universal for the first time in forever, no pun intended, at the box office. I mean, things are not looking good for Disney as a whole. So that Nelson Peltz is banging this drum and saying, damn it, things need to change. Whether he's the right solution or not for the board, that's a different discussion. But he is vocalizing what I think a majority are feeling now, and that is there's something wrong here and we need to fix it.
Well, let me make my opinion clear. I agree with everything you just said. I think there needs to be a shakeup, but what I think what you were saying too about like the allegiance of the board and stuff like that, I think that is the problem. I think that the board is happy with the way that their jobs are going, and inviting somebody like this makes your life more complicated. And that's what my point is I think these people don't want to do what's best for the company necessarily. I think they're watching their backs because they realize if they invite this guy in, it's going to mean more work. It's going to mean changing things up. It's going to mean all sorts of different things that will not be the same ever again. And I think that's why they don't do it, because they are afraid to actually do the hard thing to make the company better. You know,
I can see that. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a unique spot to be in for the Walt Disney Company as a whole. And now this guy, I mean, if he can just garner, Nelson, that is, if he can just garner some of the credibility, some of the goodwill that Roy Disney had at the time, I mean, that's a huge mountain to climb. But if he could just get some of that together and rally the shareholders, he could make a real difference being the biggest shareholder. I mean, he could really make a seismic change in the company if he wanted to. But as of right now, all he's doing is bitching. D saying he thinks his money entitles him to a seat. To that seat, it doesn't work that way. Bob Smith is saying, I was not joking. You should be CEO. He's talking to you, Tyler.
Oh, thank you, Bob Smith. Always Bob Smith, my biggest supporter. Go buy some of his cars. He's got some great dealerships out there.
Bob Smith Chevrolet.
That's a Southern California joke, I think, that only people in Southern California will understand.
Yes, no doubt. Thank you, Bob. Yes, we agree. Tyler for CEO now and forever.
Appreciate you, Robert.
Isn't that sweet? Butto saying they don't want him on to protect Iger's ego. I feel like those words probably are ringing very true.
I think it's everyone's ego.
Yeah, that whole board is terrified, like you said.
Yeah,
I think they're all very concerned about being held accountable at this point. And yeah, I mean, lots of heads should have rolled immediately after the Chapek debacle. And you know, it's an embarrassment to watch what happened to Disney throughout all of this, and year after year of extending Iger's contract. You know, I know he even said this time around, like, I will not do another extension this time. We are gonna have a new CEO. Reminder, he said that last time. He said that before, and they ended up extending him out. He also said he would never come back. So all things to think about here.
And to go off of what you just said too, like, you know, if they really did appoint this guy to the board, you know, that'd be 2 losses back to back. Like, they just came through this whole Chapek debacle. They're kind of being laughed at, you know, by the theme park community at large. Like, and then they're going to just accept another loss immediately and just be like, yeah, this guy's right. We don't know what we're doing. Let's bring him into the board because we need help. You know, that's really what I think it would do. Is it would really give this public perception of the current board is just crumbling
incompetent
at the foundation. Yeah. And I think and they cannot do that right now because it'll make them look so bad.
The company's already on shaky ground. You're right. DeVoice guy saying, do you know how many companies he turned around, saved? Disney's bleeding money. Do your homework. Nelson is telling it like it is. You know, like I said, he is vocalizing how many people are feeling. And certainly, yes, he does come from a big background. I know, Tyler, you were saying you don't know much about the guy's past. Nelson is somebody who he builds businesses. I mean, he's a smart guy when it comes to business. So, you know, he does have some credibility in that arena. It's not like he's, you know, coming at this just as a large shareholder. He got money somehow, and it came through building business.
And I think you yelling at me to do homework is like kind of little short-sighted of you, because I literally agree with everything you're saying. I have no problem with the guy himself. The point is we're talking from the perspective of the board members. Why do the board members not want him there? And this is what I'm telling you, is the board members don't want him there because of everything we just discussed. So thank you for telling me to do the homework, but
do the homework.
We agree with you. So I don't really think there's a reason to be aggressive.
Bob's just saying, LOL, I'm not rich. Price is not I can deal with. I'm sure that means something about his car company.
Yeah, the car. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, it took me a second. Yeah.
Well, that about wraps things up for us here today as we discuss all things Disney news across the Disney universe. I want to thank you for taking time out of your weekend to be a part of the broadcast as always. Even if we can't see you while we are on camera, it is a blessing to be a part of your weekend in some capacity, to be a part of your, your Disney loving experience. So thanks for always listening to our thoughts. Thank you for chiming in with all of your thoughts. And I guess that about wraps things up for us. Tyler, Katrina, you guys heading to Disneyland anytime soon?
I don't know.
No, we don't really have a current plan to go. I think, this weekend is
lay low weekend.
Yeah, we're doing a lay low type of situation. I've been and by the way, voice guy, I just want to say, like, no animosity. I'm if I sounded like I was angry, I'm not. No animosity. Everyone should read the facts. Agreed. I just think we're on the same page is all I was trying to say. But yeah, I think for Disneyland, we are just kind of laying low this weekend. I moved a bunch of stuff yesterday and my back is killing me. So maybe I'll just be sitting a lot right now.
Take a rest.
Yeah, a little resty weekend sounds great to me.
A little resty weekend.
Are you doing anything fun, Wade?
I wish. Not with sopping rain.
This was so much fun right now.
I know, this is it. This is weekend's over now. Weekend's made.
Yeah, this is it. Just let's go back to Monday now that this is over.
Yeah.
Beyond this, there's nothing. I completely agree. Judah's saying they should keep Mr. Peltz off the board, take into consideration the saying of giving someone an inch and they take a mile. Thank you for sharing your thoughts there, Judith. And of course, Bob saying Tyler Crouch for CEO.
Let's go.
One last hurrah.
Bob Smith,
for CEO.
Always my hero.
Always your hero. Well, my friends, it has been a pleasure, like I said, being a part of your weekend. Thanks for dropping by. Whether you listen to us on demand or watch after the fact, like we know the majority of you do, it always means so much. And we will see you next time for another installment of Disney News Talk Live.
Bye.